Hi, this is Matt from howtosurvivestuff.com. Today I'm going to be talking about financing your survival plan, tips to help you get started. So, first off, I want to say that as you are probably aware, financing your survival plan is not cheap. It can be very expensive. This is because a survival plan involves things like retreat planning. For example, if you're planning on setting up a retreat out far away from any major cities, that would involve purchasing some real estate and fortifying it. So that can be very expensive. Another reason is survival plan. A survival plan involves stockpiling. Now, most of the survival prepper friends that I have are planning on a time period of 5 to 10 years. So you can imagine over that period of time, for that period of time, you're saving up things like food supply, medical supplies, um, ammo, really a lot of stuff that can be very expensive, especially when you're getting enough for 5 to 10 years. And then, of course, if you have multiple people you're stockpiling for, like if you have a family, then just multiply that by the number of people you have, and it gets very expensive. There's also survival gear. There's a lot of equipment that you're going to want for your survival plan. Really, anything from survival attire to survival footwear, um, things like fishing and trapping equipment, a CB radio. Really, there's a lot of stuff. The list goes on and on. And you're going to want two or three of everything. One of my favorite sayings is one is none and two is one. So this is because, things break, and to really be prepared, you're going to want to have a backup or a couple of backups of everything. Now, if you're like most Americans, you probably have anywhere from 10 to 12,000 per year of disposable income, and that's the money that's going to savings and non-essential purchases. So when you think about all those things I just talked about, all the different things you're going to want to be purchasing for your plan, and then you look at that amount of money, it's probably a little overwhelming to you. Especially if you have other traditional types of savings, then maybe you just have a couple $1,000s or a few $1,000s each month, or I mean each year to spend on this stuff. So it can be overwhelming, but the purpose of this video is not to overwhelm you. It's to offer you some tips on how to get started and what on some goals that you can set for yourself and to not get overwhelmed. So tip number one is to just start. Start with the most important stuff first. The best way to approach this is to think, what would I need to survive for the first few days? If a disaster happened or the economy collapsed or something like that. And if you have a family, what would I and my family need for the first few days? Now, the word bug out bag is the word that we like to use for this. It's also called 72-hour kit. And this is just something you have ready to go. If you just need to grab and go and get out of Dodge as quickly as possible, you have this bag ready, and it's got what you need for the first few days. So start with that. That's simple. You can refer to my website, howtosurvivestuff.com. There's a great blog post on getting a bug out bag together, and bug out bag essential checklist. So you start with that. You can do it yourself. You can put it together yourself, or there's a lot of pre-made ones you can buy, and I talk about that in my blog post. So check it out. Once you've got that squared away, then just follow that same approach. Think, what do I need for the first week? What do I need for the first month? And then the first year. So you just start in time frames, and that's, I think, the best way to approach it. Tip number two is live within your means and set aside a certain percentage each month. Most people don't live this way. Most people spend money they don't have on stuff that they don't need. So maybe you're going to have to reevaluate what's most important in life. And maybe you'll have to eliminate some of those non-essential purchases. That big flat screen TV you're wanting to buy, maybe you'll have to put that on hold and invest in something that's more important. So if you are living within your means already, um, just pick a certain percentage of your disposable income every month and just stick with it. I don't care what the percentage is. If it's 1%, great. Just stick with it. Be consistent. If you can do 5, 10, 15, 20%, just be consistent. And every month with that money that you've set aside, get the next thing on your survival plan checklist. The next most important thing that you need to buy. Tip number 3 is learn valuable self-sufficiency skills. Now, I put this in here because this is something you can do for your survival plan that doesn't cost you any money. You can do a lot of this stuff for free, and you can see a lot of tutorials on YouTube and all around the internet. You can learn things like navigation, CB radio, water purification, etc., etc. All these things I have listed here. The internet is a great resource to just learn a lot of free information. So start there, and then also look to your local community events. And there are classes put on by community colleges, churches, civic organizations. There's a great value there. Most of these are free, and you can just go and learn things like first aid, CB radio, navigation. This is a great resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. Another tip is to just plan for when you do have the money. Say you're unable to set aside any amount of money right now for your survival plan. Well, hopefully you're working towards a time when you will be better off, and plan ahead and plan for when you do have that money, how much you are going to set aside and what things you're going to buy. Tip number 4 is don't get overwhelmed. And this kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 1. Just start and be consistent. Even if you're not as prepared as you would like to be, at least you'll be more prepared tomorrow than you are today. If you just get started and if you're consistent about it, you'll be amazed to see how far you've come after a few months, and you'll be prepared for those first initial stages of a disaster situation. So this concludes the presentation. This has been Financing Your Survival Plan, tips to help you get started. This is Matt from howtosurvivestuff.com. Thanks for watching.